put together my top 10 fights on the remaining boxing schedule. Now, there are some disclaimers here. These fights have to be announced. So, therefore, the promoter or the network has to have announced it. So, Spence Crawford, not going to be on my list. So, don't come knocking down my door if I don't have Spence Crawford on this list. But I'll start off at number 10. Bam Rodriguez versus Israel Gonzalez. This is going down on the Triple G Canelo card. I had this at 10 because I just think anytime Bam Rodriguez fights, it's worth tuning in for. He is one of the best young fighters in the game. I think he's on his way to being the 2022 Fighter of the Year. Israel Gonzalez is someone that fought Roman Gonzalez, Chocolatito. They threw a shit ton of punches. So I think this could be a fun fight, and I think it'll be an entertaining fight. And I love Bam Rodriguez, so he's number 10 on my list. Coming in at number 9, Shakur Stevenson taking on Robson Conceição over in Newark. A homecoming fight for Shakur. September 23rd on regular ESPN. Love this. A Friday night fight. Stevenson, I believe, is on a rocket ship to the top. He's going to be the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter in the next 18 to 24 months, if not sooner. He's on a great trajectory right now, fighting guys like Jamel Herring, fighting guys like Oscar Valdez. He has wins over Joet Gonzalez, has wins over Pitbull Cruz, and now you add Conceição, who arguably beat Valdez. Stevenson is, he was putting together a resume at age 23, 24 years old. That is very impressive. So that's a fun fight over on ESPN on September 23rd. That's Stevenson and Conceição coming in at 9. Number 8, heavyweights. Andy Ruiz and Luis Ortiz, September 4th, a Sunday night Fox pay-per-view. Really like this fight. Whether you don't like it, the fact that it's on pay-per-view, whatever. There are a ton of pay-per-views on the schedule coming up, unfortunately, if you're not someone that likes to throw down for pay-per-views in the upcoming schedule. But I do like this fight on paper as a pure boxing match. Ruiz wants to get those big fights again. Ruiz wins, he's going to fight Deontay Wilder. That's just my opinion, and I just think that's what the PBC has wanted for a really long time. Luis Ortiz stands in the way, a guy that beat Charles Martin in his last fight. Very vulnerable, but also has a lot of power. Love this fight. Should be a fun one over on Fox pay-per-view. That is on September 4th. That comes in at number 8. Number 7, Joseph Diaz versus William Zepeda. This fight came out of nowhere. Jojo Diaz will fight anyone, whether it's Devin Haney. You go down the list. Fortuna. This fight's going down November 5th on regular DAZN. This is a perfect Southern California regular subscription DAZN fight. Love it. That comes in at number 7. Number 6 is a fight that just got announced last week, and it set the British boxing Twitter abuzz. Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, born rivals. October 8th, DAZN pay-per-view over in the UK. I don't know if it's going to be on regular DAZN here. I love this fight. Eubank Jr. coming down from 160 to fight at 157 catchweight. Conor Benn coming up from 147. Conor Benn has a really heavy punch, a little, I would say, rugged, or really hasn't really been polished. Can't get any of these big names at 147 in the ring with him. I think it makes sense from that standpoint. Neither guy is close to getting a champ in their weight class. Eubank Jr., he ain't getting anyone at 160. 160 is a freaking mess right now. Conor Benn's not getting Thurman. He's not getting Spence. He's not getting Crawford. He's not going to fight Boots. He's not going to fight Virgil Ortiz. So these two match made in heaven. Throw in the fact their fathers had one of the biggest rivalries in the history of British boxing. This is like Eddie Hearn's printing money. Eubank Jr. and his promoter, they're printing money. O2 Arena's going to be buzzing on October 8th. That's number 6. Number 5, we're into our top 5. Joyce and Joseph Parker, September 24th, BT Sport, a fight between two top 10 heavyweights. Joyce, I think, is so underrated. I want to see Joyce in there with some of these top names. Kind of fights like George Foreman, slow, methodical, doesn't always look great, gets hit a lot, but somehow wins every fight that he's in. And Joseph Parker has fought everybody. He's a solid fighter. I love this fight, evenly matched, what heavyweight boxing should be all about. All right, number 4, Michaela Mayer and Alicia Baumgartner. This is going down September 10th. Regular ESPN Plus. They don't like each other. Genuine hate between these two. Mayer, I think, is the better boxer all around. Throws a lot of punches. Then you got Alicia Baumgartner, who is the knockout artist, who stopped Terry Harper flat, stopped her in her tracks for 3 belts at 130. Love this fight as the co-main event to my third favorite fight on the upcoming schedule, which is Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall. Talk about bad blood. Clarissa Shields has 0 losses as a pro. In fact, has not lost since the Olympic trials. You know who she lost to? Savannah Marshall. Savannah Marshall has knockout power. She's actually the favorite in this fight, which I find pretty odd. I think I'm going to throw a lot of money on Shields to win this one. That is the main event over on September 10th on ESPN+. Clarissa Shields, arguably the best woman boxer of all time if you tie in her 2 Olympic gold medals. The fact that she did lose to Marshall when she was like 17. The build-up for this fight has gotten contentious. I think Shields says a lot of things that rub boxing fans the wrong way, but it's a huge fight overseas. This is a fight between Shields and Marshall Meyer Baumgartner. This card I thought could be on its own. You know, I was a little upset that it was on. They were putting it together and they were putting it in the UK, but it makes sense now. This is a big celebration for women's boxing. Probably the best year in the history of women's boxing. If you put Shields, Marshall, Meyer Baumgartner, what we saw from Taylor and Serrano. So that's my number 3 fight. All right, get into the top 2 fights on the remaining schedule. I think you know what they are. Number 2, Canelo Alvarez, Gennady Golovkin 3 goes down September 17th on regular DAZN pay-per-view. Not regular DAZN, but DAZN pay-per-view. I know that's upset a lot of people, but I like this fight. I know a lot of people don't. A lot of people say, I don't want to see this. There's no reason we need to see a third fight. The last time they fought was 5 years ago. Canelo's going to walk through Triple G. Really? Gennady Golovkin has never been knocked down, let alone knocked out. This fight's at 168 pounds. Triple G is close to 40 years old, doesn't have to boil down to 160 anymore, has 8 extra pounds to work with, still hits hard. Does he get hit a lot? Yes. Is he susceptible to the body? Yes. What does Canelo do very well? Throws to the body. Will he stop him? I'd be very impressed if Canelo stops Triple G. Will I be shocked if Golovkin beats Canelo? Yes. Because if he does so, Canelo's career is in a tailspin. 2 straight losses to Bivol and now Golovkin. Golovkin is now the undisputed 168-pound champ. There's so many storylines in this fight. I also think it's going to be a fun fight. Triple G gave Canelo the 2 hardest fights of his life, the toughest 24 rounds of his life. Will it be the case on September 17th? That's my number 2 favorite fight. Number 1, drum roll, please. Here we go. It's the fight this weekend. Saturday on DAZN. Alexander Ustic, Anthony Joshua, heavyweight title on the line. So much on the line in this fight. Ustic wins again. He probably goes on to fight Fury. He's looked at as probably number 1 pound for pound. And his legend just continues to grow. A guy that fights on the road. A guy that fights for his country in Ukraine. A guy that is feel. I am very feel. You've seen everything from Ustic. Fan favorite. Everyone loves him. Then you got Joshua, who everyone likes to figure out what's going on inside of his brain. Everything from the neck up with Joshua is, can he fight big? Is he tough enough to be the heavyweight champion? Can he push around Ustic like he should be as the bigger man? Will he throw power shots? Will he return back to that guy he was before Klitschko when he was knocking everybody out? Because if Joshua wins, sky's the limit. This is a guy that's made like $300 million in his career already. And now if he wins this fight, he's in the driver's seat once again. Be a heavyweight champion once again. Was that 3-time heavyweight champion? And he will have a massive fight on the horizon with Tyson Fury. Biggest fight you could possibly make in the boxing world. So that's what's on the line in this fight. And also, going to be a great fight. X's and O's. I love the fight. Southpaw Ustic. Shifty. Versus the come forward, or what should be come forward, Joshua, who is in between styles right now. New trainer. God, I love this fight. I love this schedule. And let's keep in mind that there are a lot of fights that have been ordered or rumored that have not been announced yet. Obviously, Spence Crawford. Haney Kambosos is a formality sometime in October or November. Catterall versus Josh Taylor. Lee Wood versus Leo Santa Cruz. Regis Prograis versus Cepeda. Bivol versus Zurdo. Those are all fights that are coming down the pipeline. Not to mention Pedraza versus Comey. Figueroa versus Lipinets, which is this weekend. A lot of good fights coming. That's my top 10. If you have a problem with it, tweet me at Dan Canelo.